welcome to Scorched Earth and general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of April. I hope you are well. Using the Tarot of the Abyss for you. I hope you had a good birthday. I hope we're just about to leave Pisces season. So I hope you had a good one. Let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Pisces. I have 3 cards for Pisces, please. There's the first one. It's the 7 of Pentacles in your recent past. Current energy, please, for Pisces. We have the 7 of Swords and the 3 of Cups. Okay. And what's coming towards Pisces in April, please? We have the 6 of Swords. So there's a resolution to a situation that you have been dealing with recently. I noticed that the Hermit is at the bottom of the deck here. It's Virgo energy. It does talk about a retreat of swords, and I do feel like you've been doing that. We've got the Devil sitting behind it too. So I think there's been a lot of reflection, a lot of internal reflection about what triggers you is what I want to say, actually. You know, what behaviours in people trigger you, and less about their behaviour and why it sets you off in the first place, I would say. So let's have a look. There's 7 of Pentacles here. We have the 10 of Swords and the Page of Swords. That's quite a good combination. I like that. I'll just show them to you there. There they go. Tell me about the 7 of Swords and the 3 of Cups, please. King of Cups. Oh, that King of Cups was showing up for you in the last reading. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember it quite clearly. We've got the King of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 2 of Wands. And then 6 of Swords, please. We have the 3 of Swords in reverse. And we have the 2 of Pentacles. We have the Empress at the bottom of the deck, and I like to see this because there's an expansion that's coming of you, Pisces. That's how it feels, an expansion. Ooh, better with my lighter. And it's expanding beyond a situation that is a pattern. You're breaking a pattern in some way, actually, but we'll get into it. So we start off with the 7 of Pentacles. This is a situation that is less than optimal, right? Generally speaking. It refers to those kind of situations where we don't really know what to do about something. And sometimes we know exactly what is wrong, but we don't quite know how to fix it. And other times we don't really know what is wrong. We just know that something is off. And and it could be a bit of a combination of the two, actually. And we maybe have an idea of what is wrong, but not really knowing how to fix it, you know. But I like the 7 of Pentacles because it is a card of taking stock. It's an energy of going, right, well, I actually need to sit with this. I need to look at it. It's very present energy, you know, and work it out. I need to employ the energy of the Hermit, wherever she's gone, just there, you know, and work this out. But maybe the situation is because you know exactly what is wrong, but you don't know why you can't respond to it in a way that you would like to, or you don't know why it triggers you quite as much as it does. But there's a sort of I think fight or flight is the wrong kind of word, but it's tipping you towards that kind of energy where it's like, but I don't like this, you know. The video for last month was no is a complete sentence, I believe. I'm sure I called it something like that. And there was almost this sense of quiet inner outrage that people didn't just know that you didn't want to be bothered, or they didn't just know that they had to behave like this or that or the other, you know. And it's like you have to tell people. Right? And sometimes you have to tell people in a very straightforward no kind of way, and you have to mean it, and you have to not feel bad about it. And those are the two things that that sometimes you've struggled with. But we've got here the 10 of Swords and we've got the Page of Swords, and what I liked about this is that although the minor arcana runs from the ace to the 10, and so therefore there's a cycle, and we've got a cycle from the page of swords to the king of swords, we also have a cycle which encapsulates both. So we go from the ace straight through to the king, and you've got progression here. There is something that is ending, but for some of you, actually, I think it's just a situation that made you feel really bad about something, but we've got a level of mental expansion that has come off the back of it. Like I said, I think that there's a lot of examination as to why it is that you have felt this way. We notice that the page of swords is like kind of going that way, but he's looking back at this. You know, he's taking from this just one sword. Now he's got one sword in his hand, and that's the lesson. That's the important things that he needs to take from here. Kind of looking back at the rest of it and going, And in some ways, we can see this as the breaking out of a pattern. If you consider these as two discrete cycles in and of themselves, then we've got you moving on whilst looking back at what went before and going, right, I'm breaking out of this ace to 10 of swords pattern, this cycle that I've been stuck in for quite a long time. I'm going to extricate the wisdom from it, and then I'm going to move on, you know. But when we come to your current energy, we've got the 7 of swords and we've got the 3 of cups. And I feel suspicion. You know, there's this chap here in the 7 of swords who's got a very furtive look on his face. You know, he's kind of parting the curtain to have a look at a thing, trying to be very discreet. And we got the 3 of cups, which is about the people that surround you. I mean, often it's about emotional support networks and things like that. But it feels to me a little bit like you questioning the motives of people around you. It's suspecting that there is some level of underhand behaviour. You know, it's a it's a once bitten, twice shy kind of energy. And it's like, so here's this thing that's happened. Here have, you know, been these people or, you know, agents of a situation that have approached me and they want something from me that I do not want to give. And I resent the fact that I've been put in a position where I need to actually say out loud what I think, where I would rather people had just known it. But that's a mistake, Pisces, as we know. And maybe this is extending now to other people in your environment, or maybe this is just to do with this same person. We've got the King of Cups, which I do feel very strongly came up for you in the last reading. Indicative of perhaps a Scorpio, or perhaps, you know, someone with very strong feelings towards you. I do not feel like the feelings are yours. I feel like they belong to somebody else, because this 9 of Pentacles, which does feel very much like your energy there, is looking away from the King of Cups. Which is like, no, I'm off over here, right? This is the way in which you are wanting to deploy your energy, and it's kind of anywhere other than near this King of Cups. But there's another way to look at it, and that's looking at it from an energetic point of view, at which point the King of Cups does become you, and it's about a level of emotional maturation, right? It is you taking responsibility for your emotional well-being. And so the point where you had to issue no as a complete sentence and mean it and not second guess it and not come back on it in any kind of way, then it symbolizes this kind of elevation of a sense of ownership over your emotions. Like, they don't belong to everybody else, they belong to me, and I choose where I put my emotion at any given point because I am important. You know, the 9 of Pentacles is about self-sufficiency and independence, and it's about heading away from any sense of codependence, which is what we might see in the Devil card underneath the Hermit there. Very much talks about codependence, and although they're major and minor arcana, so they don't really face off against each other at all, because arguably the Devil should win with it being major arcana. I always do feel like these two are polar opposites. We've got the Devil at one end and we've got the 9 of Pentacles at the other. And so whilst the Devil energy may be swirling around, and the possibility for that kind of codependence that you've tried so hard to get away from now the spectre of it just, rearing in front of you. It is about the actions that you take in the day-to-day. And so a huge part of that, Pisces, is not working under assumptions that people know what you are feeling, know what you are thinking, know what it is that you want. If you have not said that out loud, if you have not actually had an opportunity to say no and mean it, But it's come up here with the Two of Wands. And I think that this situation has catalyzed you a little bit to look at maybe one particular aspect of your life, or maybe all of it, because it's a state of contemplation. Here is this chap here, and he's looking at the world. It's reaching a crossroads. And there are decisions to be made, and it's all down to you. When we're looking at this minor arcana here, Nine of Pentacles and Two of Wands, right? There are decisions to be made. There are consequences to think through of taking one path over another. And the sense of you having broken a cycle and then almost feeling a little bit like, I don't really quite know what to do now. I could do something, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Or I could do something, but I don't want to. It feels like you don't really know what to think about the fact that you need to think about something, or that you need to make a decision about something. And what you want is to be left alone so that you're able to kind of work that out for yourself. Let's pull some more cards here and have a look at this. Tell me about this Nine of Pentacles, Two of Wands, this combination. We've got the King of Wands and the Chariot. Yeah, so it is all coming down to the actions that you want to take. And where, if at all, other people fit into that. Because I suspect that they don't. So there is some movement that is being contemplated here. There is some kind of direction that you want to go in. And this King of Wands, maybe you don't quite know what that is yet, but you're certainly feeling the motivation to go in some sort of direction. But this decision has not yet been made. And I think it's because you're still trying to work out where it is you want to go, the method by which you're going to get there. And it's almost like this interjection from this other person or this situation or agents of a situation kind of knocked you off your mental flow, And I can't help but feel like you feel quite aggrieved by that. But then again, if you are in a state of reflection and you're looking at, what you take responsibility for and what is not your responsibility, then what you've got is a situation where people actually don't know what you want. And maybe they don't know what you want because you don't know what you want. Either way, the necessity for you to work that out fairly swiftly seems to be on the horizon, right? If you want movement, and I feel very much that you do, because we go from the Chariot to the Six of Swords as to what is coming towards you in April, then you're going to have to kind of pull those thought processes back. You're going to have to pull those emotions back and not be distracted by what you feel are the ulterior motives of other people. Push all that to one side, go, what do I want as a Pisces? I kind of bring all the flow back and get back into that state where I kind of feeling my way through, The Six of Swords, in so much as what is coming towards you in April, is about movement. It is about certainly leaving something behind, but maybe leaving many things behind. I think it's interesting that in this depiction here, we've got a woman sat atop a giant bird, or maybe she's a tiny woman, I don't know. And she's above this quite tempestuous looking sea. But beyond these few waves that we see in front of us, there is a calmer view behind it, and one assumes that that's where she's headed off to, right? It's going from choppy waters into calm. But the thing that I find really interesting about it, and the thing that's really catching my eye, is the fact that we have 5 swords down here, and there's 1 sword in her hand. I don't know if you can see that terribly well. And the 5 of Swords is extremely, it's extremely unstable energy. Now, whether this is this Five of Swords is yours, and I don't feel like it is, or whether it belongs to somebody else, which I do feel like it does, there's a mismatch here of perspectives. And I honestly, I do feel like it comes down to the fact that you, your ability to be able to communicate what you're thinking and feeling is almost better in your head than it appears outside to other people. Sometimes you've got to really spell things out in crayons to people, right? And that's why the whole like no is a complete sentence is a thing. You have to remember that there's a complexity and there's a nuance to Pisces' engagement with the world, which is often missed by simpler people. And I feel like the Five of Swords is theirs, whoever this belongs to. And you're just picking up this one sword, this Ace of Swords, which is the truth. It is clarity. It is sometimes epiphanies about things. And just elevating above the situation and taking yourself to somewhere that, you know, perhaps a safe distance, but certainly somewhere that is a little less chaotic than this Five of Swords and you know, see, watery maelstrom that we've got going on here is feeling. I mean, it could be that there are strong feelings from you involved with this, and that perhaps the King of Cups is yours and this water is yours. It's all, you know, choppy and wavy and stuff, and it's perhaps the strength of that emotion that is clouding the issue for you, and you need to get above your emotions so that you can kind of think logically. I could see that being a way forward here too. But what's quite interesting is we've got the Three of Swords and we've got the Two of Pentacles here. Now the Three of Swords in reverse talks about healing, right, for me, because a heart cannot heal while it's still pierced by cold steel, right? So we turn it upside down, we've got gravity doing its job. It's dragging those swords out. And then once they are removed by gravity or whatever else, then the heart can heal up. Like, it's a muscle and it will, actually they don't really heal, but the hearts grow and fill in the gap, if that makes sense. I know about this because my daughter was born with a hole in the heart, right? many years ago. I'm drawn back to this maelstrom back of the Two of Pentacles now, and rather than elevating above it, still being very much in the proximity of it, we've got here a little bit of distance appearing. The maelstrom is still there, and you can tell by the ships all kind of rolling around in the background, and it is for you to balance out how you feel about that and where you put your energy, because I'll bring you to the fact that right at the start we had that Seven of Pentacles. Do I invest in this or do I divest? Do I pull my stuff out of this and go a different way? It seems to me like it's not quite as straightforward as somebody approached you and asked you, you know, for something, your time, your care, your effort, your love, you know, and you didn't want to give it. There's a bit more to this going on underneath the surface. Part of it is the way in which this request has triggered you. That needs a bit of self-examination to work out why. But possibly part of that is about strong feelings from you. Strong feelings from somebody else, and it's suffocating you, you know. Because what I'm finding it difficult to work out is whether this Three of Swords is yours or whether it's somebody else's. So if it's yours, see you kind of moving to a safe distance in order that you might heal and process exactly how you feel about everything, right? Where's your pentacle going? What are you going to invest it in? Well, you need to invest it in yourself in the first instance, because it is a Two of Pentacles, and that two is very much, it's quite a Piscean feeling number anyway, but it always talks about the internal for me, so that's why I feel like that. If it belongs to somebody else's, it feels like a strategic retreat to a safe distance, so you can process without the absolute edifice of somebody's strong feelings here on you, you know. Now I realise that this sounds very much like it's coming from a relationship perspective, but we could see it being friends, we could see it being family members too, but we could also see it potentially with your work if, and I imagine there would be, you have, you know, strong emotional ties to people that you work with. That's possible too, in which case we're looking at a change in career direction potentially. What is here? Oh, what's going on here? Yeah, so we've got the Two of Swords appearing in the reverse, and we've got the Nine of Wands. Oh, there's the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It's it doesn't feel like full-blown anxiety, but it feels like a continuation of the kind of energy that you were in last month, but this time sees you actually taking decisive action to separate yourself away from something that is demanding something from you, whether that is a person or a situation. This Two of Swords in reverse is, you know, that which you did not look at before. It's almost willful ignorance in a way, right? There's a decision to be made. This person is literally waist deep in water and they're ignoring that. The moon's at their back and they're ignoring that. They've got a blindfold around their eyes, you know, there's literally no visual input coming in at all, and they're pretending that the decision is between one sword and another, and literally it's not at this point. That would be it in the upright. In the reverse, it's knowing that there are decisions to be made, and knowing that you've kind of been swerving them a little bit, and then paying attention to what your emotions are trying to tell you at this point. And for some of you, it is putting up a massive great big boundary here. I think it's really interesting that what we've got is the Nine of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Swords all appearing here. There's no indication that what you're leaving behind is something that would bring any kind of value to you, as we would see with the Nine of Cups, for example. Instead, it's all about shoring up yourself. This Nine of Swords is followed by the Moon and by the Emperor. And possibly it's someone with, this is Aries energy here, someone whom you perceive to be powerful has revealed something to you that was previously hidden, and that's giving you a fucking headache trying to deal with their emotions. And you know, Pisces, you've got this incredible ability, and sometimes it feels like a curse, right? To just be able to feel what other people are feeling. And, you know, like I said, sometimes that's a blessing, but often that's a curse when they want something from you that you cannot give, you do not want to give, because the conditioning of often a Piscean upbringing means that you kind of want to just give it. But at the same time, the work that you've done on yourself in the last year or so, that reclamation of self that is so very important for you, would be compromised if you were to do this. Like this kind of patterning that you're breaking, this kind of conditioning that you're breaking, requires that you absolutely separate yourself and stand back and say no, you know, really assert yourself here. And it's almost like not just saying it aloud, but saying it and meaning it and feeling it and knowing what that feels like when you say no to someone, and not giving yourself a hard time about it, not feeling like you're fucking sucking at being, you know, an empathetic being, an empathic being, by asserting for yourself, you know, knowing what you need. It is kind of half of the battle for you. But once you do, you need to be able to advocate for that. So people need to know, you know, as and when it is appropriate. And I would say in this situation, it's appropriate for someone to know that what they're asking of you is not something that you want to give. And then working towards your own goals. The Empress here, Queen of Queens and the archetypal mother, she is very much concerned with abundance and fertility and growth. And there's a budding, almost slightly chaotic feeling, creative energy in you at the moment that is, it feels like it's looking for a route out. It's looking an energy, the Empress. And so it could be to do with your material surroundings, actually, but there's a sense of you kind of pushing towards
a new cycle of a larger type than just this one down here, although this is quite a big deal anyway, because it's all about your behaviours and the way that you are showing up in the world and how this is becoming different. It's changing and it's evolving, but you do seem to be being guided towards something else at the moment, and I still just do not feel like you are in the right place to be able to deal with other people's big emotions at the moment, right? They're still too foggy. There's still work on your boundaries to be done. And I think that this probably will become more apparent to you over the month of April. And, you know, to that end, then some people really do have to be kept at arm's length. If you want to keep them in your life full stop, you know, but over there, then that's something that's going to need to be negotiated. If you just want gone full stop, then I see a big movement here for you, or at least the preparation for a big movement, the thinking about the big movement, and getting ready to make the decision about the big movement. So I feel like sighing a lot as I'm looking at this, just like, and that feels to me very much like your energy, but you need to be able to get past the sighs, right? And say, this is the thing. And almost actually direct that to yourself as well. You know, you're like, well, what is the thing? What do I want? Where do I want to go? Why is this situation triggering me really, really hard? What is being shown to me here about me? I would say very strongly that it's about not getting your words right, or not issuing words in the right way, and just dealing in assumptions and, you know, hopeful expectations more than anything else. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now, so if this has resonated with you, do feel free to come and join me over there. The link is in the description box. Obviously, if you're on Patreon, you can get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost. So you can go and watch for the other person if you know what their sign is. If not to worry. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.